A basement, a darkness so dense it feels like light has never existed there. The walls still seem to remember the heat of 1986. The cold air drifting through the cracks in the ceiling can't silence the echo of the explosion. Every tiny stone crunching beneath your feet feels like a whispered warning. Turn back. But you keep walking. Because at the end of this tunnel, something humanity created, yet could never control, still waits in absolute silence. After the Chernobyl disaster, only a few people ever entered these corridors. Each of them, step by step, carried the same terrifying question in their minds. If I see it, will I live long enough to tell the story? The truth was merciless. What rested in that basement wasn't just debris. It wasn't just concrete or metal. It was the frozen shadow of human error, a monster made not of flesh, not of fury, but of pure, silent radiation. Looking at it for mere seconds could scorch your insides. Taking a single photograph could steal years from your life. When Reactor 4 melted down, tons of uranium fuel, graphite metal, and concrete blended into a river of hellish molten lava. This river didn't just flow, it consumed everything. It carved tunnels, melted walls, and created its own path through the facility. And when it finally cooled, it formed a grotesque shape resembling the foot of a giant elephant. Scientists called it the elephant's foot, but no name could ever truly capture the horror it held. Even from a distance, radiation meters went wild. 10,000 roentgens per hour, enough to tear a human body apart at the cellular level within seconds. A single minute of exposure was a death sentence. The clicking of the Geiger counters echoed through the tunnel like a frantic heartbeat, like the object itself was screaming for you to stay away. Soviet engineers feared something even worse. If this corium mass reached the groundwater beneath the plant, the resulting steam explosion could have erased half of Europe from the map. So a handful of volunteers descended into the basement on a mission that felt more like a sacrifice than a task. Among them was cameraman Artur Korniev, the man who would capture the most dangerous photograph ever taken. As Artur walked deeper into the corridor, the beeping of his radiation detector grew faster and faster, like footsteps chasing him from behind. But he didn't turn back. He knew the world needed to see the truth. When he finally stood before the elephant's foot, his breath stalled. Its surface was twisted and uneven. Layers of melted metal and concrete fused together, frozen mid-flow like the last moment of a volcanic eruption. Every curve, every lump was a scar from the reactor's collapse, preserved in a monstrous sculpture. Artur raised his camera. The detector's beeps blended into one continuous scream. The flash fired, and in that split second, a faint spark rippled across the surface of the elephant's foot, proof that the corium was still alive, still active, still silently burning. The photo Artur captured that day is now known as the most dangerous photograph in the world. He paid the price for it. The radiation he absorbed in those few seconds stayed with him for the rest of his life, an invisible poison slowly wearing him down. But the world would finally see the face of a disaster that had been hidden in the dark. Today, the elephant's foot is still there. Darker now, cracked, aged by time, but still deadly, still untouchable, still the silent monument of a catastrophe we barely survived. Scientists estimate it will take about 20,000 years before it becomes harmless. Long after we're gone, long after cities change, generations fade, and entire civilizations rise and fall, The elephant's foot will still be waiting in that basement, unmoving, silent, deadly. And perhaps the most chilling thought is this. One day, maybe centuries from now, someone may walk down those tunnels again, and what they will find won't be a relic of history. It will be a warning, because no matter how advanced we become, humanity always writes the same ending whenever it plays with fire. The moment we lose control, all that remains is darkness, silence, and a monster waiting at the bottom of a forgotten basement.